support Clinton when he went into Somalia. Yeah, they yelled and screamed. Even in Bosnia, yelled and screamed at him. George Bush ran against him, the Democrats for that position. But now they're very emotional. They want to be loyal to the president. They don't understand how the neoconservatives took over, and they hate not being loyal. But we're supposed to be loyal to our country, not to our political party.
Dr. Paul, you talked a good bit about, in your answer about cutting government, you talked about the money that you can save by bringing people home from Iraq.
Right.
But I know there's a lot on the domestic side that you would be willing to cut. Can you talk about what some of those things would be?
Yeah, and I listed them tonight. I started off, we don't need the Department of Education and Department of Energy. That's a pretty good start. But I think every program can be cut. I've never voted for an unbalanced budget. And I essentially never voted for any appropriation bills because they're all too big. So we should cut everything.
Can you talk about what will happen then in America once those government services are reduced? What will happen next?
I'd rather talk about what happens if we don't do it, because we're going to have a bankruptcy. We're going to destroy the dollar, and the Social Security beneficiaries are going to have nothing. But when we cut, it's going to hurt some people, and we'll have to adjust. That's why I say cut overseas first. It'll be less painful. I said, don't blow up bridges, don't rebuild bridges, come home and build our bridges here at home. That makes more sense to me. I didn't vote for it, and it's hard to get rid of programs once they started. I wouldn't attack it first. Matter of fact, I argue that if people become dependent on these programs, although they're imperfect, I would leave those to last. I want to cut the easier things, and that is the militarism abroad. We can get a consensus on that and take care of the elderly. But what I want to do is have a transition period. If Social Security is unsound, I want all the young people to get out of it. Get exempt, and then teach them how to take care of their own medical needs, which you can do with changing the tax code.
Congressman Paul, can we get you on camera just right over here, please, for a moment?
We actually promised that you talk over this one first. Can I break it right
30
now?
seconds.
30 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had an significant state, so there's no choice in my part.
Many university students that normally would have gone more on the liberal Democrats ticket are kind of moving towards you now.
That's absolutely the case. CNN today had somebody that was doing like a testimonial. It was almost like my ad. Because I used to be a Barack Obama supporter, but now I'm a Ron Paul supporter. So I think there is definitely a shift because they don't like the war, and they don't like the intrusiveness of our civil liberties, the invasion of our privacy. So there's a great appeal to those who are considered progressives and liberals. And of course, I have a tremendous appeal to the conservatives who believe in fiscal conservatism.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congressman.
For how you would get rid of the income tax?
Well, the strategy depends on the people. If the people demand the welfare state endlessly and continued spending and deficits and warfare and policing the world, you can't get rid of it. So my job would be to set a standard, to use it as the presidency as a bully pulpit to get the American people to understand why they better change it. And already, how many people are already sick and tired of the income tax? But you have to get a consensus so they don't think there won't be any government, that you won't have a national defense, that the world will end. But what they're coming to realize today is that if we continue this spending, we're going to go broke, and the dollar won't work, and the people are going to suffer. So the alternatives aren't very good. So tightening our belts is what I offer, and that's a lot better than waiting for an economic catastrophe.
Are you planning on being more aggressive in your campaign and the attacks that you've had in the debates? You've noticed that you haven't had as much time as others to present your issues. So I think what a lot of people are discerning, we've got a lot of enthusiasm. Are you planning on being more aggressive in this campaign to show contrast in your positions and the veracity of the issues that are important to you versus the contrast in records of like McCain, like you did tonight, and the frontrunner Romney and Huckabee?
That hasn't been my nature. I don't enjoy that part, addressing single individuals and personalities. But I feel like I am and will continue to be very aggressive with the policies that I believe in and defending the Constitution. And at times I will have to answer back. Like tonight I was required to answer back to Senator McCain because he challenged me personally and misconstrued my beliefs.
Dr. Paul,
how realistic is it to get rid of the IRS?
Well, I think it's very realistic. I think what isn't realistic is to continue what we're doing. And we're going to move to a real tax revolt and a currency destruction. That's not realistic, so I want to prevent that.
You want to go to the gold standard?
I want to legalize the Constitution, which says only gold and silver can be legal tender, and let it compete with paper rather than being disruptive and just close down the system. So, yes, we do want sound money. The founders understood this. They knew all about inflation, and they said that it should never come back again. That's why they wrote that in the Constitution.
Dr. Paul, if you don't get the bid, would you be willing to run as an independent?
Right now, I have no intention of doing that. It's just a terrible situation in this country because all the laws are biased. And unless you're a billionaire, you have a lot of trouble getting on the ballots.
How do you think that you built such an online community? And it's so strong and so vibrant. How did that happen? How did you build such a vibrant online community?
I think they discovered me through my positions in the debates, especially on the war. They went to my website and looked at my voting record and say, my goodness, that's exactly what I believe in. So they more or less did it themselves. We didn't have a strategy to go out and find our people or hire people to look for them. We offered them a program, and it was very receptive to young people, and they rallied behind it, and they're the organizer. And like I said, I am delighted that I am part of the revolution.